Let's go. This is The Underground. World News Live. Back at you for another one. Here on this February 26, 2025. What is going on, everybody? Good evening. Get a mic check right out the gate. Make sure everything's good. Good to see everybody. I want to thank those of you that give the feedback there, those that share the stream. Thank you, Tacos. Thank you, Tooch. Thank you, Kev Bar. D. White. Everyone out there that shares it, it's appreciated to the fullest. Thank you, Quantum, Gabe, Melody. Good to see everybody. Bones, Crystal. Who cares? Much love to everybody out there. MC, Kevin, Minx, Kid. Hope you're all doing good. Got a lot to cover, as always. Going live 3 nights a week, and every time we're live, we've got plenty to cover. So much going on. You can see what I've got in the title there. We're going to go over a video clip that was shared by Trump himself in reference to Trump GAZA that's got some crazy stuff in it. We're going to go over this gold card, economic reset, and a bunch of stuff tied to it. The moon structures, which they just dropped some new stuff that was like really high speed. We slowed it down, and sure enough, we slow it down. There's some interesting things. We're going to look at that. And you can see the robot attacks the crowd. We got a lot to dive into. Start off here with an update on space weather real quick. We do have a hole in the sun's atmosphere. This is causing minor G1 class storms all the way up through the first. You could see auroras that pop up, especially if you're at the northern latitudes. This image is pretty crazy. You could see the ISS captures this massive plume of what they call jet lightning. Notice how you can also see the stars and everything in the background here off this one versus the pics that you get where they try to say earth shine. Makes all the stars disappear. Well, where's it at? Here. I don't know. I just, when it comes to space, we're lied to so much. It's hard to even cover the stuff sometimes because I want to get out there and prove one way or another it's this or it's that. If we had the money and the means, we could do some of these things, like get a balloon, space balloon, up into subspace, or as high as we could possibly get it with a bunch of cameras live. And we could put a lot of things to rest right there. And I'm sure we're going to catch a lot of amazing things. I've seen a family do that. Closest thing that I've seen yet, they loaded a bunch of cameras up on a weather balloon, a guy and his girls. They launched it, and it went way up there. And they got killer footage, but it went way out of the range. They had GPS on it. They tracked it down. They found the cameras, got the cards out. They were lucky it landed on land and where they could retrieve it. But when he put the footage up, it was just crazy because when he got up to right before it popped, you could see there was stuff everywhere. There's stuff just zipping around everywhere. It's like, what are you going to try to call that? Bugs, birds? Like, I don't think so. All that goes out the window. There's something going on. And, again, we could put a lot of things to rest if we just did it ourselves. One day, hopefully we'll do this, be able to do it. I'm sure we're going to catch something crazy either way. If you guys got your cameras or telescopes out and you catch anything, let me know. dabu7@yahoo.com. We also have this object coming in at 0.8 LD here today. That's closer than the moon. And we've had quite a few of those here as of late. Looks like about it for the space weather. An update here real quick on the plane situation. As we have another close encounter here that was caught by pretty much the flight radar. You can see right here, and also an image that shows it coming down as this flight is coming in and almost hits another plane. This was Southwest Flight 2504, and there was a flex jet that decided to cut across the runway. They say the 737 pilots acted quickly and aborted the landing with full thrust in a nose-up attitude for a straight-out departure. So they were coming to land, and this guy's sitting on the runway, cutting across right in front of them, and they had to pull up, or else this would be another incident we'd be talking about. That's like the best angle and clip right there that shows the proximity of the whole thing. But this was at Chicago Midway. Just can't help but think, man, another one. Every time we turn around, something going on with these flights. Egg prices. I don't know if you've been out to the store as of late, and I know it's different everywhere, but man, it's definitely creeping up and creeping up and creeping up. This eggflation, or whatever you want to call it. The price of eggs going through the roof. It's been consistently rising. Some places are just getting wiped out. It depends on where you're at. Some places are stocked, some places are not. Some places are approaching like $1 an egg, man. Like, it's getting crazy. Yeah, R.I.P. Mike Morales. Kart racer, definitely missed, man. But egg prices, man, just the way to mitigate this that I can see is to get some chickens. Now, if you get some and they're out in the open where they can see them from the roadside, or if you're, letting it be known that you got chickens and you're selling eggs and all this stuff, you're going to make yourself a target. But if you're low key about it and just, out of the way, out of sight, out of mind, that's the way to be here at this point, going forward. Because if anyone could see you on your property, you're talking about snitching. Now just imagine lockdowns when they come back around again and all this. Imagine bird flu, which they're primed to unleash something dealing with that. They're going to be hunting down chickens left and right. And the point is if they don't see the chickens, it's just one less thing you got to worry about them coming to mess with you on. And people are going to be freaked out. Something like a deadly version of bird flu does get released. People are going to be freaked out, all in all, of the birds, the eggs, the everything connected to it. Again, this ties into the meat. This ties into the cattle because the feed is connected to the chickens and everything else. They've then showed us and told us that it's jumped to animals. And let's not forget, California, talk about jumping the gun. Like months ago now, they went into a state of emergency over bird flu. Okay? So, it showed right there kind of where this is going, to me. But if you've got just a handful of chickens, they can supply you with all your eggs, man. And it's a good bartering tool as well in the meantime. It's just good to have. When the price is going up this much, yeah. I don't see it coming down anytime soon. And boy, oh boy, if we go into a crisis, expect the prices to go through the roof. Copper, it has soared. And this is in regards to what Trump has launched with this tariff probe, so to speak. Now, all the precious metals, gold, silver, copper, platinum, palladium, they're all going to continue to rise and go through the roof. If they reevaluate something like gold and they put it, let's just make a number up, let's just say $20,000 an ounce, it's at some point, all these other precious metals got to catch up. It's just the way that it goes. And some of them could give you better gains than gold itself. It's kind of similar to Bitcoin. If you look at the whole Bitcoin situation, it's already seen 1,000% gains and all that stuff. So it's less likely to produce such large gains at this point in the game. And it's the big dog, like gold. But Ethereum's going to try to catch up to Bitcoin when it surges, just like silver's going to try to catch up to gold. Same with copper and all these other metals. So copper, it's obviously tied into our money supply, where it definitely was at one point. If you missed it, Trump has officially said they're done printing pennies. They're done minting pennies. It's over. It's done. This is the beginning of the end in terms of fiat currency. Never in the history of this country, since any of us been here for hundreds of years, as long as we've had a currency system here, they've never stopped printing one of the staple coins that we use, especially the penny. But the penny's just not used at this point, they say, en masse, and it costs like more than double the price to make it than it's even worth and all this other stuff. We've covered it. The nickel's the same way. A long time ago, when the precious metal was actually tied into the currency, I mean, that's when the currency was worth something, when there was actually silver in the silver, and copper in the pennies. But then they did away with all that. Quantum, much love. He says silver, silver, silver. And I can't stress that enough as well. Thank you for the super chat. Um, I can't stress it enough, man. Silver is going to have its day. The only caveat that I got to all this is something we're going to talk about here in a minute, and it's potential price controls, or the excuse the Trump administration uses to seize gold. You know, they say that, hey, you know, what would make them do that? What would ever make them want to do that? Well, the number one thing that I could think of is if they have no gold, and that resorts back to the whole Fort Knox situation. And we need to get that over with. We need to get them in there. We need to get them to clarify if it's there or not, because this could go a whole bunch of different ways depending on what they say. If they say the gold's not in there, then what? We're kind of like done at that point. Like, the dollar's worth nothing. The markets start to implode. Trump would have to come out and say, look, an executive order, we've got to like confiscate all the gold to save our currency. We've got everybody's got to hand in as much gold as possible, is what I could see them doing. They're going to be like, keep your wedding rings, but everything else you have to hand in. And his followers will do this at this point. I feel a majority of it. And that's all that matters. That's all they ever wanted. They wanted to get a consensus. They wanted to get a majority of the crowd into one stable, which they did with Trump. And then they wanted to be able to give them a whole bunch of winning and slide in these things they've had a hard time getting in on the people all this time. And they're doing just that. It's black magic at its finest. Anyhow, you're going to see some things happen during this cycle that you could benefit from. The explosion of gold and silver and precious metals is definitely one. I've been talking about this since 2017 for sure. Hardcore. Gold has tripled since then. Okay? Miss Dragon, welcome to the underground. Much love. See you, lone warrior out there. Much love, brother. But just saying, you know, I've said this for a long time and always repeated that precious metals are key. They're going to be key in a barter situation. It just depends on the situation here. The way that I foresee this from here is that there's going to be economic disruption, one form or another. It's going to come, and they're going to start to usher in the help, the digital currency. They're going to say, download this wallet, and we're going to give you some funds. It's just that simple. And people are not going to question it. It's not going to be anything different than anything else in their lives at this point. And since he done signed the executive order saying no CBDC, and then turned around and gave him Trump coin, gave the blockchain anyway, with the other hand, these people just don't even, they're about to get waxed. I don't care if you don't like to hear it. Oh, well, wake up, or get waxed. Again, some of these people turn a cheek when you bring up these facts, this like warp speed and all this other stuff. And like I said on the other show, talking about that clip about Bondi, I told you in that it didn't matter, because there was already speculation. People were like, well, we don't know what year it's from. And I said, look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's from 2018 or if it's brand new. It does not matter. The fact is they're talking about taking away your guns and asking questions later. And thank you, John, for the coffee. Let me turn that down. The big red flag is they were wanting to take guns where anyone could snitch you out and come and take the guns. Big red flag. It doesn't matter when, at what point in time they said it, they're on record doing it. Okay, and that's the important thing here. And that's what I pointed out last time. Again, welcome to the underground. Thank you, Quantum. And thank you for the coffees there. That is the best way to support the show. Although, Deanna, I did get your message. I don't know what's going on with it not going through with the coffees. I try to put out several different ways people can support the channel. Got a PayPal link, and I got USDT, some crypto links down there people ask for. I don't know. I don't know what they do. As you said before, on the front of my page, the links were scrambled. I don't know why they did what's going on. It just seems to be another way they mess with me. Esbert, much love, and thank you. Thank you for sharing the stream. Always being there. Gonna keep it pushing. let's talk about this, what looks to be potentially one of the biggest counter protests against Trump and Elon and all them yet. Because what's happened here is, even though they've gone out and they've cleared out a lot of these jobs in a lot of these places, it's not like they're all left-leaning people, okay? There are people that voted for Trump that were supporting this whole thing that just lost their jobs. And they could do nothing but, like, break down and cry and, like, you know, they're done, right? Like, well, I try to look at this thing from both sides all the time. You got to look at it with discernment. Well, nationwide economic blackout is scheduled for February 28th. That's in 2 days. A huge list of stores are being targeted, but on the other side of the coin here, like, some of these places that, like, supported lockdowns and jabs and all that, we said they should get boycotted, right? They should be on a list, but that's not the type of places that have been getting hit. Mom and pop shops have been getting hit. Places that have been around for a long time here in this country have been getting hit, wiped out, forced to go bankrupt. It's part of a plan. I'm telling you, it's a reset right in front of our face. It's happening in real time, every day. It's not just a one-day event. It never will be something this large a scale. And it's going in slow motion every day. It's happening, so people are, like, failing to see it. They're waiting for this singular event on any given day when it's happening every single day and has been slow motion over this whole time. Ever since lockdown started, they've been wiping everything out. Okay? And it even comes up to this very day, this right now, all these stores still closing. So when I see this economic blackout that's going to happen on the 28th, I think of all the places that are hanging on by a string that this might knock off. Camel that, the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. Where are they going to be? This is highly organized, funded, backed. And as we've seen in D.C. here recently, this wasn't just a couple dozen people. There are thousands of people showing up pissed off about what's going on. People that are waking up to the scam, feeling that they got scammed. People that are just, left-leaning against Trump and all this stuff. But there's so much confusion out here. It's almost hard to talk sense into a Trumper over some of these main things because they just want to retort to, oh, you're a Biden supporter or something stupid. It's like, no, we're not. It's like, quit with that crap. Like, you need to come to the table on these major things, man. Just like Gaza, we'll clean it out. Like, we're going to get to that here in just a second. But this economic blackout thing, sometimes they telegraph things with headlines as well to stick it into your mind. And a lot of these headlines have said this: blackout, economic blackout. I'm like, what blackout? Keep throwing blackout out there a lot. Just make a note of that. We know the economy is going to take a hit here at some point, but is this one of these, like, getting the snowball rolling at the top? So it eventually becomes an avalanche. It's the beginning. We're going to see what this turnout's like. If anybody even notices it, or if it becomes a major thing. But if you see anything happening in 2 days out there, it could be connected to that. Okay? Now, we've got a JP Morgan trader warning that the market is technically breaking down. When you look at all the harbingers, so to speak, the tall tale signs of what's to come, they're not looking good. And all the technical signs and supports are showing that the market's beginning breakdown. Now, we're in a crazy time because literally, like, 10 companies are the juggernauts that control most of the market. Like, literally, the Big 10, what they call it. If you were to cripple the Big 10 and take down almost half of them, 5 businesses at this point, let's say in a massive something with the law where they're in trouble and the stocks start to tank and you took down just half of them, you would bring down the whole market. That's where we're at. If you were to bring down just 5 of the Big 10, you would bring down the entire market like dominoes. It used to be, Fortune 500 and all that. You had 500 plus companies out there that were big and it meant something. Now, all people want to be invested in is, I got Apple, I got Tesla, I got Microsoft. Just a handful of big dogs everyone's wanting to dive into. And the sad thing is the big dogs own most of the shares. So when they dump them and they sell them one day, which they will, kind of like Jamie Dimon just sold his finally, 33%. Huge warning sign. Something huge is about to happen. Warren Buffett's sitting on the sidelines with a record amount of cash. Huge red flags. You're just going to keep ignoring them? These are the things we've warned about forever, and you're actually seeing them. Dude, stepping into the shadows, the big, big, big dogs cashing out. Literally. It's sitting there. They're not buying back in. What does that tell you? Come on. Something huge is about to happen, and they're not going to get caught in it. That's what tells me. And they're going to buy the dip when everything crashes. Bitcoin back down to $4,000 or something. They're going to be swooping it up. Gold, anything that peels back this next time. They're going to be buying the farm. This is how the Great Depression happened last time. They got together and they schemed on Jekyll Island. J.P. Morgan chasing the goons, and they plotted to steal everybody's stuff. And they did. If you don't know your history, you need to go back and research it. This is known. It was a scam. It is now known officially. It was a scam that put it into motion. Wasn't anything else but that. They stole the farm from your grandparents that you should be living on right now. And that should piss you off if you have nothing. It's a fact, Jack. It's a fact. So anyone that rises up to take back what's theirs, I salute you, my friend. Because it's owed to you. Whether they want to lawfully give it up, righteously or not. It was stolen from all of you in a scam, and we know it. And another one is about to happen. I call it the Great Taking. And you can either get took in it, or you can see what's coming, and you can bob and weave, potentially make out with profit on it. So how would you do that? How could you possibly profit from this whole thing crashing? Well, they do it every day. It's called shorting. And I was talking to Tacos about it earlier. It's amazing just how many people are oblivious to this because they don't tell you, they don't teach you, they don't give many people the options to even do this out there. You used to have like $20,000 down in stock trades to even be able to enter the game to short. But now that cryptos come along, you can short left and right. You can short anything. You could short Bitcoin like it's crashing right now, and you could be making bukus, which has been the plan, and I've been telling you this whole time to do it. So salutes to all of you that listen. If you want a way out, you need to take the avenues that are open, man. Again, they gave you gold and silver, non-taxed. You need to be trading in it, right? And if they're going to give you any crypto assets that are non-taxable, if they want to give you anything that they're not going to tax, dude, jump on it. Like, when does that ever happen? When will it ever happen again? The next administration after him could be another Biden type deal, and they could change everything again. You better get it while the getting is good. Do you understand me? There's opportunities right now that are open that will never be open again. There's going to be a transfer of wealth that's about to happen. And what this means is most people's money is going to get taken. Okay? You either dodge this bullet or you also can short the game and benefit from it. It's just that simple. They short every day. The stock market, crypto, it's a tool that you should learn. I'm watching young dudes out here become millionaires because they're making moves. If you ever want any information on that, ask me on the side because none of this is financial advice. You can email me, and anyone that's serious about it, I'll get back with you. Most people are just going to miss the bus on this one. This is going to be just like the dot-com bubble that came and went, and the people 10 years later are like, well, I didn't even see it come and go. Like, they're oblivious to the stuff that's happening around them. And if you don't want to see things for what it is, then I don't even know what to say. There's going to be very few opportunities to make money from here on out, as far as I could tell. Nothing that you, like, is going to gain in value much from here, outside of gold and the precious metals. Like, everything's going to go into decline mode. When the market falls, everything falls. There is no buying something, holding it, and making money. Everything comes down. That's what causes depression. That's what's going to be part of the taking. Look, we know what they're going to do. We know when you take a step back, put yourself in the shoes of the criminal for a second. All right? If you're an investigator, you have to do this to figure out what they're doing. So when you do it, and you look, and you're like, oh, we're criminals for a second. Where's all the money? We want to take all the money. Right? That's what the criminals want to do. So where's it all at? We've gotten everyone to take their savings, their life savings, their retirement and everything, and tie it into a 401k around the freaking globe. So we now got what could have been gold buried underground, savings, or put into property or anything else. We've got it tied up into a digital realm that we can attack, that actually we hold a majority of the shares on. Meaning, when we sell at the top, we sell everything we got. We sell our 1 million shares apiece. This will tank the market. We will walk away with all the money, and all the people will lose. They will be left holding the bag, an empty bag. Their 401k will be drained. It will be liquefied because it was connected to the market. They'll all desperately try to get out, and they won't be able to. And we will have them. Dude, that is a master plan to help people, and an easy one. They could do it. That's the scary part. That's the scary part. It's going to happen. You think that there's that much money out there for the taking and they're not going to do it? You're crazy. If we can sit here and we can war game this and we can see it clearly, surely they have. Come on now. You have to see what's there to be took and how it could even be taken to begin with. And that's it. It's just that simple. It's very easy. And they can even blame it on whoever. But at the end of the day, it's these guys that fatten their pockets. They can point to whoever. They can blame it on a Chinese hack. But ultimately, if any money's missing or your accounts tank, it's because big dog sold. That's it. That's all it ever is. That's this whole game. That's what this whole game is. Right? You understand? Money don't just disappear. When your account goes down, it's not like it just disappeared. Somebody took it. Okay? Now look, futures drop. Bitcoin gets crushed. And this started the other day. And when it's getting into the crypto realm, I've spent a long time explaining to you and warning about the blockchain. So you better at least get that much. As long as you understand the risks there, and that everything is tracked and traced over here. And that you should always have a fiat option. Always. Or it's going to lead to the beast blockchain. Well, you'll be good. And you know the tax implications. But if they're not taxing it, if they're not taxing American projects from here on out, like Eric Trump said, this is a huge opportunity for people to make money trading. What, anything. And I don't know if that's going to go just for crypto projects. Why would it not stand for any kind of stock, American stock, then? You should be able to trade all of them. You feel me? And not be taxed on it. Like, if that's the case. Like, what's the difference, But they're trying hard to make us the crypto capital of the world. So you're going to see some pretty astounding things to do that. This is one of them. Taking away the tax on... Because they want it to be a thing. They want people... I can see the point there. Because it's going to drive it. People are like, look, there's something we can trade, not get taxed, and we can make all this money. Yeah, you can. You can. But let me tell you something. If you're trying to trade Trump coin or Melania coin, you've lost your tail. You understand? They pulled a roost on everyone. It's still tanking. Go look at them. Go look at Trump and Melania coin over there, and it's been, just pull up the chart. It's been off a cliff and downhill, and it just, the bleeding don't stop. Now that Bitcoin's coming down, they continue to bleed. No, they'll bleed out. Like Melania, it's just like, it was like a sick joke. They took people for billions, and they did. One day at a spike, in the offing, where was the money to be made? Shorting it on the way down. All you had to do was jump in Trump or Melania and just set a short and like never look back. And it would have made you money this whole freaking time. Do you understand this? I'm giving you keys to the game, man. You need to use them. There's windows of opportunity. And what we've come to find out, it doesn't matter what the market, as long as the market isn't completely like Great Depression smashed, thrashed, like there's money to be made in every up and down. And if you can time it, just like a fighter trying to get his timing down, there's money to be made in every single up and down. And you can grab it. You can grab 5%, 10%. Anyone that's economical that knows anything is like, can do the math. If you can continually every day grab 10%, within months, you could turn $1,000 into millions. Okay, it's there. Guys are doing it. And I'm seeing it so much that I'm about to just dive into it and like just show how it works. And the proof is going to be in the pudding. I talk about all these other people. I'd rather show the example. Okay, but something's coming in the midst of all this, and it's capital controls. It keeps getting brought up. It all ties back to the gold. Whether he reevaluates it or not, whether there's gold in Fort Knox or not, there's going to be some kind of event that causes capital controls. And this is where they lock down pretty much and try to get where all the cash will be held within this country for the most part. And then there comes a wealth transfer to the government. That's how they work. You could take a guess as to, I mean, many different things could lead to this, but just look at recent history. Argentina, Lebanon, Venezuela, Iceland, Greece, Cyprus, Turkey, Russia, Ukraine, China, India, South Korea, and many more. They've all imposed capital controls. They can happen anywhere at any time. And the route we're going, it's going to happen. In 1933, Roosevelt, by executive order, forced Americans to exchange their gold for U.S. dollars under a threat of 10 years in prison or a $10,000 fine. And the official exchange rate was unfavorable for the people. It amounted to a 41% confiscation of purchasing power. That's what they did. And see, these erosions of our money have affected us, man. Our dollar is like, it's been pimped out, ragged out. It's like got a 0.5% fraction of the purchasing power that it used to have, like originally. I mean, seriously. They've ran it down that much, kicked the can down the road so much that the only thing that would save it at this point is to absolutely stop printing and making the money. You would have to back it by gold. And that's where all this talk keeps coming back to. And they're saying that Trump is going to have to reset everything. Trump's going to have to reset. So he's about to reset all this, obviously. They're talking about it openly. What does that mean? Well, that means that something's got to crash. Something's got to go down to replace it with something new, to even reset it. And it was all meant to be on his watch. It was all meant to be. We haven't even hit it yet. I mean, World Economic Forum telegraphed this in advance. The Great Reset. Again, it hasn't even happened yet. But it's about to. It's about to. I can't tell you what's going to put it in motion, but it's kind of already in motion here when you look at everything. Just a couple series of events. A couple banks get caught up in some scams and schemes like they're talking about right now. Bank of America and all these others. tanks, it just starts to tank. Stocks and everything tank one day, it's over. But see, that wouldn't affect Warren Buffett if he wake up one day and BOFA is tanking, because he sold all of his. That's what I'm trying to warn you about. You better watch what these big dogs are doing. Take notes. And with the rise of crypto out there, I try to warn you as best I can about the fraud and the scams and the schemes, the ups and the downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly, man. You got to be honest about it. Well, in terms of scams, these crypto machines and ATMs look to be one of the biggest frauds out there right now. They're getting people big time. I just want to play this so you're aware and that people don't fall for stuff like this. If they call you and tell you your son's in jail, just send $1,000 in Bitcoin and we'll release him. Like,
Tonight on an I-Team investigation. Let me rewind real quick. Last month, the I-Team exposed how Bitcoin ATMs specifically have become kind of this new favorite tool for scammers. Well, this week, a group of U.S. senators introduced what they say is a solution to protect Americans from losing, in some cases, thousands of dollars in these scams. Investigative reporter Brian New tonight with the proposed solution to this growing problem.
The last time you were inside a convenience store or a laundromat, you may have noticed one of these. It's a Bitcoin ATM. There are now more than 4,000 of them across the state of Texas. They are an easy and legitimate way to purchase cryptocurrency. But scammers are also using these to prey on older Americans. And some in Washington say it's time to do something about it.
These are a poor man's car collection.
When 80-year-old Joseph Buntello received a call claiming his son was in jail, he panicked.
I was scared. I hit the panic button and I let my panic take control of me, of my good judgment.
The caller told Buntello if he wanted to get his son out, he needed to rush to his local grocery store to send $5,000 through a Bitcoin ATM.
This is the printout that came out.
By the time Buntello realized he'd been scammed, it was too late.
They said, there's nothing we can do about it. That money's already been distributed. They said it was distributed the minute you got through putting your money in there.
And which is probably why those fraudsters wanted you to use that machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Right here, fraud warning. There's a scam warning.
Bitcoin ATM operators say they take extensive measures to protect users from fraud. Before any transaction, most Bitcoin ATMs display up to 6 screens, alerting customers to potential scams. But from 2020 to 2023, consumer losses in Bitcoin ATM scams skyrocketed tenfold to $114 million.
There are now more than 30,000 cryptocurrency ATMs in this country, and they are being used by criminals to cheat Americans out of their hard-earned savings.
On Tuesday, U.S. Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois introduced the Crypto ATM Fraud Prevention Act. The bill aims to crack down on crypto scams by adding layers of protection on Bitcoin ATM transactions, as well as requiring greater transparency from ATM operators. The bill especially looks to protect first-time ATM users, who are most likely to be scam victims. Those protections for new users include a transaction limit of $2,000, requiring live verbal confirmation for any transaction greater than $500, and providing full refunds if a new customer makes a fraud report within 30 days.
well, some key points here. If you've been living under a rock, there are 30,000 of these ATMs across the country, 4,000 in Texas alone. And look, we see through some of the stuff very clearly. Yes, some of the stuff is good for a first-timer, a newbie that's new to the game, trying to go out there and get something, like some of the limits and things like this. But what someone that's young and green is never going to see is the privacy thing of all this, how it's all getting stripped away. The older generation that's been around here for some years, that know of biometrics and we've been warning about it and all this stuff. Well, that's what they're trying to do. Live verbal confirmation. This means tracing your voice, recording it, have it stored in a database with all the rest of your stuff. And they're going to use that, a biometric database to verify you. Okay? And you can bet it's going to be overseen by AI at this point. So these are the pitfalls that they're sliding in there. And they didn't call it that, but that's what it is right there. Okay, so of course they're trying to be slick with all this stuff. Again, they turned around to most of the people that voted for Trump. A large portion of the crowd was yelling, garbling something about a CBDC. They didn't even understand why. But, oh yeah, we don't, the CBDC, it's bad. But wouldn't even take the time to figure it out. And then Trump signed the executive order, said no CBDC, and then turned around and gave them the blockchain anyway with Trump coin. And I'm still not sure some of them have even figured it out yet. And that's just sad. That's just sad if not. Like, we paint it very clearly for what it is. And if you don't want to talk about it, that's just ridiculous. Again, we got to talk about things fairly here, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I give Trump props when he does something. We call him out on stuff. You should never be someone that just sits there and, like, defend someone even when they're wrong. You should be able to... I mean, where's your morals and integrity there? They go out the window. You got to hold them accountable for stuff. So now that Trump's in there, that's our job. Not to sit there and turn a cheek. It's our job to hold him accountable. Okay? So people need to get with it. All right, so, nothing's ever going to be perfect. You're trying to make the best of things, right? Here's one. I used to actually think when I was younger and, wasn't caught in all this politics, and there wasn't politics embedded in the comedy and late night shows as bad. It just wasn't. It's been overwhelming ever since, the past decade. But when I was younger, it really wasn't like that. They may have every now and then said something political, but it was not as heavy as it is now. Like Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, all these goons that become they just went so political. Jon Stewart, same way. I could have laughed at some of his jokes back in the day. I laughed at this video tonight because he's an idiot, and it backfired on him. That's why. But he goes nuts here on this rant and slams his cup down and apparently slices his hand open in the middle of it, and so bad he himself said he's going to have to go to the hospital. I don't know if they ended the show there or not, but here's the clip. Just want to share it with you.
Oh, can it be? The companies we subsidize with billions of dollars are allowing us the privilege to negotiate the price of 10 of their drugs? And 10 is all of them, right? It would be embarrassing if it was a small drop in the bucket and that the American people didn't expect that we should negotiate for all their drugs because we've already paid for it with our subsidies. Are you saying? Come on! I'll be going to the hospital soon.
You could see it in his face. It was instant pain. You could see it, you could see it. He's like, oh crap. He's like, oh crap. You can tell he's in pain. You can feel it right there. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that's what made me laugh. Oh, he really got split and he was hating it. Yeah, check this one out. All the EV charging stations at federal buildings are set to go dark. Okay? You're talking 8,000 plugs out there. This is the one contradiction, the one thing going against Elon and everything Elon's doing that I've seen this whole time that I just kind of was like, he's sitting there keeping his mouth shut about all this. This directly affects him and Tesla and all the charging station, all the cars, everything. Not a word of it. Not a word, not an argument. Nothing. What we have seen, though, is that Tesla said that to counter the people clipping the wires and stealing copper, they came out with this new coating to put on them that would, like, spray ink all over the place or something if they tried to cut it. Which I don't know how well that's going to work or not, but for anyone that bought a Tesla and that was trying to use these stations in DC or any of the federal buildings or any of that, all of them are going to be gone. They're not even going to be able to charge there. So it's like no gas stations are around. It's just kind of crazy because you know that affects Elon in the end. Without a doubt. He's the biggest supplier of the EVs out there. So, I don't know where Tesla's going to be going with stock and with vehicles. And I mean, he has to change the game up. Like, I have a funny feeling, though. We're going to see by 2030, I can't say it's going to be anytime soon, but we're going to see a revolutionary advancement, leap in technology on this planet. And all this stuff's going to be obsolete. They already know this. They already have it. When they incorporate it into everyone's everyday lives, traveling vehicles and all that, it'll be different. But they want a world built different. They don't want you to have independence. By the time they roll this out, they don't want you to be like Jetsons, be able to drive around in your own independent, anti-gravitical vehicle. They don't want that. They want it to just be a minimal amount of people at that point and have like public transpo. And it will be the anti-gravitics, and it will take everyone to and fro. And it'll be things like everything that they can control. You see? There will be no need to have transportation. Like it will be supplied, they'll say, from every point, from here to there to there. They've already stated this. They've already shown this. We already know their goals with the carbon stuff, with the 15-minute cities. We know where they're wanting to take this, man. The cat's out of the bag. But to actually do this, like, how are they going to do that? Like, some big things are going to have to change. Like, cities are going to have to be completely rehauled and redone in different ways. The power structure, the way we get power has to change. Like, we know free energy exists. We know you can pull it from right out of the ether. We know this. Like, we know they know this. Like, at what point are they going to finally roll it out and say, okay, the whole planet needs to operate like this? Because I'm going to tell you that this is how the ancients used to run this planet. It used to be ran on an energy grid system, off the ley lines. It's what the pyramids were. They were large power plants. And the whole place was ran off this. This is what Thoth talked about. This is how all of Atlantis ran. All of it. Until some male-dominant entities from a war that happened in space involving Mars came here. And then all hell broke loose. Okay? The energy was offset. And the way that this planet operated was dismantled. It was dismantled. The closest that we've got to it, and this is even why Elon pays homage to him in his name, was Tesla figuring it out and saying, no, you idiots, look what I did. And he's over here in his backyard pulling electric down out of the atmosphere off a tower, which anyone could do. That too is out there. But they'll come a knocking, right? So they say, well, it's always been said that if you want to try to sell it, they'll come a knocking. But if anybody just does it and wants to do it on their own, they could potentially get away with it. But I think that there's a whole new world setting on a series of events. It's on the other side of a series of events that are approaching us. 9/11 magnitude. Between here and 2030. One or two massive ones that will cement everything, followed by other ones that will tie into it to sew it up. That's where we're going, and it's going to the economics, and it does take a huge hit on America. There's no other way around it. There's no soft landing, so to speak. The softest that I could see is them trying to rob the American people by turning around and saying, like, look, if you want to get through this hardship, look, cough up all your gold. Which is going to be a huge move, an absolutely massive move. One that I feel they could probably only pull off under Trump. Because of the level of black magic, that dark MAGA. So, guess what? Musk, with his involvement with all this, Starlink is now going to upgrade America's national airspace system. If you don't know, Verizon had control of this. It's not working. It's had all kinds of issues. So now they're just being pushed out of the way. Starlink is going to run this whole deal. All right, so with that in mind, gonna jump over to some of this moon stuff here real quick and cover it. Now, everybody's got their opinions, right? There's definitely some psyops and some brainwashing going on out there as well, especially with space. And there's some people that think that I could go on forever about what these different ideas people have, what they think. I see a lot of mixed up stories out there of stuff, but just a concoction of different things. Like some people say it's all CGI. Stuff like this is just all CGI. And I don't believe that 100%, because I do believe, like the Van Allen belts and things like that, the firmament and things like that. I believe life, like an organism, it may not be able to get through that. They are radiation belts until you have the technological prowess to do it. But if you could step down, if you could step in between dimensions, then that's all. Then what? We know that that's happening. You can't get life through Van Allen belts, so to speak, via a rocket in this dimension. But what you can get is a probe. You can get electronics. You can get things like that, and they can send them far out there. I do believe this is possible, and you can definitely get them into subspace. There's a group out there that believes satellites aren't real and all this other stuff, and I just don't know what to say besides some people are badly damaged by the psyops. They're that bad. They spent so many nights going down the wrong rabbit holes, and they're that bad damage. Just, it's one thing, yeah, we're lied to about a lot of stuff and there's deception, but to say there's no satellites up there when you can walk outside and you can look up with your own eyes and see them left and right. People can see Starlink. I'm coming live to you tonight off Starlink. Out in the middle of nowhere. But you don't want to say that it's hidden towers somewhere that look like trees. Or something stupid. When no one around here has cell phone service or nothing for miles and this and that. Like out in the middle. Like, it's ridiculous. Can't explain the equator, neither. On anything that's flat and all this other stuff. It's just like, I could go on for hours there, right? Again, we're lied to. Some stuff we can't even prove. So, the way I see it is, life may be trapped here, but we're getting probes out, cameras out. We can get around the moon. We've seen them. It's been filmed. We've seen them traverse it. Even through my own telescope, we've seen them. So, if you don't know, they've got Firefly that goes around the moon. It's got a camera. And they don't always show these images. And when they do it just like I'm about to show you. I'm going to hit play. And this is the backside of the moon, okay? See that? Look at that. Look how quick they zip by. Boy, I see some interesting spots. Yeah. Well, the very first one, in the very first frame, and you have to look very, very close on this. I've got a link on my X, and that's what it's going to take for someone that wants to look at this blown up. But this structure right here clearly has like defined symmetry, like two lines together, and like a ball here and a ball here. It looks like a building, clearly. And that's just one of many things that you see when you go through here. There's some of these, like right here, right here, inside of this, what's supposed to be where a crater hit. And this is another thing if you don't know about the moon. An oddity. And they say, why is it, out of all of the craters across the whole moon, when it comes to the size, there's all kinds of different sizes, like widths and all this, but they all only go down to a certain depth and go no deeper. Like they're hitting something. I don't know, maybe the metal structure that it is. You know how much of metal is strewn across this place in crystallized glass parts that shouldn't even exist or be there, that are there? The composition of the moon. And also the moon is hollow. This is a fact. They proved this. It's not a secret. It's not a conspiracy. They proved this themselves when they ran several things into the moon, and the whole world had a chance to listen. It's not like they're the only ones that had instruments. They're the only ones that can conduct this. No, when they did it and they do these things, you too, anyone that has the stuff, can lock in on the moon and you can listen, you can watch. And the whole world did. And it rang like a bell. It wasn't a thud. It reverberated for hours and hours on end. Because it's hollow. And I'm telling you, the moon is not what they tell you in their storybooks or in your school books. That, or whatever, that it formed from a piece of, no, it was a piece of earth and smacked something else and no, none of that. This thing is designed. It's got seams in it. It is a structure. And there's a lot of conspiracy as to what it's really doing. I'd say so deep that most people couldn't wrap their heads around it. You know, Max Spears, rest in peace, my brother, and others that have spoke on this, say that the moon is a soul trap. It is what is responsible for regenerating the souls on this planet, capturing them and everything else. And there's a tower on the moon. Maybe you've heard of that. And all this other stuff. And these come from very credible people. Again, people that have been taken out on the things that they've spoke about, connected to this. But look at this, the crater right there that I'm showing you. Look on the inside of that freaking crater right there. The place is so interesting that, if we only had the money, there's no righteous billionaire. You know, that's who they tried to portray Elon and all them to be in this net, but like, yeah, right. This dude's out here trying to play us with rockets and trying to stick the landing on these things, because that's all that they can do. That's all they can do with rockets now. They try to show us that they can land them on platforms out in the ocean. It's all show. They know it. You don't think that these guys, you don't think Elon doesn't know about anti-gravitics and know about all of this high-tech tech? When he's talking about Mars and all this, get out of here. Come on, man. Like, this is a show for, like, the small-minded, and it's about to end. It's about to end, and, you know, once they do this, people are going to look back and be like, damn, all the rocket launches were just a show. Yeah, don't you think? Don't you think? When they've got anti-gravitics and all this other stuff at this point, and they're acknowledging this much, they're putting these things on display. Also, remember with the drones, the whole thing, how they were taken off, and they were displaying characteristics that we've never seen before, like they weren't picked up on thermal, and they were outrunning all of our military aircraft. Like, what is it running off of, and all this stuff? I'm telling you, it's the whole energy thing, and they've showed us. And Trump came out and he told us, "Oh, it's us, it's us." That's what they said. He didn't say it. He put it out to his little White House spokeswoman. It's one of the few things he did not update on. Nothing else came out of his mouth on it. He put it out to her that, yeah, it's the FAA. It's us. It's ours. They are FAA authorized in this. And we knew this. They had FAA lights. They were adhering to their rules. That's how we knew it was tied to them. You even had the dude that came out and said there's an Iranian mothership off the coast and all this. When we go back and look at him, he was full of crap. Mark that one off, right? But at the same time, they were pushing major hype, and still are, against Iran, and they'll do anything they can to try to point that way. But I just wanted to point out these things. You can go back and you can dissect this more. If you get any really good shots, screenshot them and send them to me. Dabu7@yahoo.com. I'd love to see what you find. I found so many crazy things in these probe images. And let's just stop for a second and say that, okay, you want to say that it's CJ, it's all fake. Okay, well, if they faked it, then they left us some Easter eggs. They left some things that they wanted us to find. Like these buildings in this freaking crater right here. That, guess what? Guess who had the eyes and at least caught them? Whether fake or not, we caught them. So shove it. Okay? I can't stand some of these tards out here. Sometimes, though, it amazes me. It's like, are you really that ignorant, or are you here paid pushing the psyop? Well, let's move on. But I'm going to keep the point here on Mr. Dark MAGA, Elon. He comes out and says, hotel rooms, baseball stadium rentals, all these things were used with COVID funds. COVID funds, right? Over the years since COVID hit, I've been telling you of all these people that have gotten in trouble. They've gone to prison. Gotten in major trouble for misuse of these funds for the scams. Even famous people, like what more well-known people. Anyone that abused this. People in Congress, all this stuff. Anyone that abused this have gotten in trouble. He's telling us that billions were used here. Billions again. Huge numbers. Not a single person mentioned that's going to go to jail. You're witnessing the highest level of black magic, exposing exactly what's really going on here. Okay? If you've got the eyes to see. Okay? This is a full-fledged, in the wide open black magic cover-up. Covering their tracks in real time, disguised as transparency. Do you understand that? This is exactly what it is. And they're sitting here telling you all the dirt that this beast has done this whole time. They're going to throw everything out there, and ain't no one going to get in trouble for it. They're going to drop everything now. Look what they've done. They've already done it. They're already doing it. They've already said all this stuff, all these crimes have happened, all this money all over the place, billions again right here. And this is COVID funds, okay, that people have gone to jail for. And just look it up, man. We've reported on it. What's the difference this time? Mr. Elon is speaking it. So it's almost like anyone that falls under this umbrella is getting a pardon right here. A black magic pardon. They're just simply not mentioning your name or going after you. And they're saying the populace is so stupid, we don't even have to say it. We just don't say it. We just don't even bring it up. And they're so stupid, they're not even going to say nothing. Do you see how they're playing the people? Right to their face. Right to their face. Not one mention of one single person that's going to go to jail. Not one. Not one. People should be going buck wild over this. Like, dude, who's going to jail? It's an illusion. You want to mention jail, let's switch the focus over here to migrants and this and that and home and a strike team and all border and the war and all this other crap. But it comes to all these people that just got caught. Treasonous billions, trillions. Not a word. Not a word. Do you see how it works? They just don't mention it. Inner City says it's frustrating. It is. But at least we can see it for what it is. And we call it for what it is, my brother. At least we see these witches and warlocks conducting what they're doing, and we can see it. Thank God for the eyes. Because apparently the ones falling for it can't see it and don't have the eyes. So many have fallen away from Jesus, from God, from Yeshua, from the Most High, the Godhead. In this whole thing, they've put man and idols literally right in front of you before that service and that belief and that faith. It's all took a back seat to these guys. And that's scary. People would still go to church on Sunday, do all this other stuff, but nah, their allegiance is here. MAGA is something else if you don't know the rank. It is full-fledged. You call it whatever you want. Gang, cult, group, whatever. It's a real thing. And dark MAGA, he did this for a reason, man. He flaunts this for a reason in front of your face who he is. There's a reason why he wore the Baphomet costume with the upside-down cross on it. Okay, this dude is not good. I don't care if you fell for it, bought it, you thought all these things were good that they were about to do, coming in and doing all this, but no. When has the beast ever been good? They've given you a bunch of likable characters, is what they've given you. They've given you the all-star team. That's how I see it. It's the dream team. Remember back in the 90s, whatever, Michael Jordan. He's got the whole Olympic team. They called it the dream team. No one could touch them, beat them. It was all these basketball players. Just awesome. So it was the dream team. Plus, you hit the dream team mentioned with O.J. Simpson and his lawyers and all that. But this is like the same thing. They're comparing it. Like it's the all-star team. There's no team built that's been put together like this. And what they've chosen are all the likable faces. That's it. It's all they've done. They've took a consensus on who people fell for. From COVID, to the whole thing on social media, who they were tending on liking, who they were looking up more, who they liked. And every single person they gave you was one of them people, to a degree. Now, we call them out. We see them for what they are. But, again, the people, the majority of the masses out there, they're not seeing it. They're seeing it as all winning, total butt kicking, and that you can't ever beat this. Like anything that they say goes, does, and that's dangerous, man. That's just dangerous. That's where they wanted it. Okay, let's keep it pushing. You know what's next? And I warned you about this. When Elon rolls his freaking Terminator bots out, all you good old boys out there that got ammunition stocked up, back to the drawing board, gentlemen. Again, I think this is falling on deaf ears. All you people that got mounds of ammunition and all this, it's going to be useless against these robots. Now what? Elon's literally got an army of tens of thousands of these bots. All they gotta do is put a gun in their hand, or even build one in, or a laser, or who knows, multiple weapons, or anything you could think of like a freaking movie. This is the world's richest man. He's got an army of these things that when they fall down, they get back up. They can run up mountains. They could chase you down. They can never get tired. Like, we better start right now thinking about these things, man. You better find the Achilles heel on this army. Your bullets can't stop them, gentlemen. What are you going to do to this new enemy that we all kind of seen out of the corner of our eye, but you didn't see it like this. You didn't know it would accelerate like this. This man has warehouses full of these robots. And now, what's his name? Suck a turd. From Made Up, Facebook. He's getting in on the mix. He wants in on it too. He's trying to brand his though as having smiles on their faces and real friendly. So they can help you with all your stuff around the house. And that's how they're branding that one. But it doesn't matter. It's all AI, it's all robot that's in your house. That the flip of a switch in programming, they could take a knife out and slice your throats, and like you're done. They could just detonate, wipe the whole place out. I don't trust these people at all. They were all part of a plan to just lock us all down and mass inoculate us. Come on, dude. Like, and he's got a Terminator army in existence. It is really there. And he wants to put a chip in all the rest of the humans' brains. But let me go on and on and on about the evil of these guys, man. If you can't see it by now, I don't know what to say. But Elon's one thing. China is a whole nother. China is very technical, with the technology stuff. They always have been with the electronics and this and that, and you know that. Just anything going all the way back to the 80s, from computers to stereos to anything electronic, man. It has parts from China, are made from China. I mean, most places you walk in, you can flip something over and it says made from China on it. But these robots in China, I don't know what they are doing. They're not specific here, but at this Chinese event, a humanoid robot starts to attack and buck and strike the people, and the guards had to pull him back. He's right here. Can't make him out. He's got a really small, like shrunken type of head, but here's the people right here in this row, and here is the robot. I'm gonna hit play, and you're gonna see this thing like throw its arm up and then like try to headbutt him and go after him and all this other stuff. It's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, that's just thing. Cops an attitude wants to get buck on its own. Like, dude, like, man, I'll pass. I won't be nowhere near one of these things. Or like, because if they ever come around me, you can take it out. These things can become so lethal so quick. Silver Sailor, much love. Thank you for the gifting membership there. Telling you, man. Crazy times. All right, let's take a look. Let's dive into some of the politics now. This is that all-star team I was telling you about. You got Rubio over here. You got Hegseth. You're going to see them all. Tulsi, RFK, even Elon sitting in here. I'm just going to play a couple clips here. Pull this up, blow it up. Just so you can see what his cabinet rooms are looking like now when they're holding these things. And they had a prayer. They started a prayer off here.
They will have our meeting, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this awesome privilege, Father, to be in your presence. God, thank you that you've allowed us to see this day. The Bible says that your mercies are new every morning. And Father God, we give you the glory and the honor. Thank you, God, for President Trump, Father, for appointing us. Father God, thank you for anointing us to do this job. Father, we pray you will give the president, the vice president wisdom, Father God, as they lead. Father, I pray for all of my colleagues that are here around the table and in this room. Lord God, we pray that we would lead with a righteous clarity. Father God, that as we serve the people of this country in every prospective agency, every job that we have, Father, we would humble ourselves before you, and we would lead in the manner that you've called us to lead and to serve. Father, the Bible says that blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. Well, Father, we today honor you, and in your rightful place, Father, thank you for giving us this opportunity to restore faith in this country and be a blessing to the people of America. And Lord God, today in our meeting, we pray that you will be glorified in our conversation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Scott, that was a very good job you did.
So they started off with that.
In just over 1 month, illegal border crossings have plummeted by numbers that nobody's actually ever seen before. It's much more than 100%. And we've unleashed American energy at levels that will soon be reported. But we think we're going to get it going very quickly. We have incredible people on the energy front. I think we have really great people on every front. I'll let you know if they're not good, but I think they really are. And we're fighting every day to get the prices down. The inflation is stopping slowly, but part of the reason it's stopping is because of high interest rates and other problems that we inherited. But we have to get the prices down, not the inflation.
Somebody says, so a steel jacketed 30-06 to take the robots out. Like, I don't know, man. Like, prove it. Like, these robots are bulletproof. His vehicles are bulletproof. I don't know to what degree of testing. Maybe you're right. I'd just like to see some proof and some evidence. So, some test results. You come across one of these bots and you can put one down with a 30-06. Let's put it on YouTube. It's just let everybody see it. Like, look, this is how you take one out. Something's got to work. I'm telling you, I encounter any of these bots. It's the more you're in the bigger cities and around the ritzier places, I'll say, the higher your chances are of seeing this. You're going to start to see them being used as security. People like Kim Kardashian and things like that, places they frequent, if they got their robot with them, it's going to be seen. And more are doing this. Their robots with them going out as security, as this, as that, carrier purse, also packing a gun and whatever. It's going to get away if it takes somebody out, kills somebody over a security threat. Like, are you gonna put it on trial for something? Like, come on, like, this is like crazy. Are you gonna hold Kim responsible? I highly doubt that. This is an example. These things, I don't know, man. These bots are something else. So, let's talk about people. Let's talk about people coming into this country. Normally, I'm discussing the illegal migrants in the situation there, and I'm going to update on that before this is over. But Trump is announcing this $5 million gold card. Okay? Gold card. What is that? It is a passport that he's flaunting to the rich and powerful around the world, saying, look, if you pay $5 million, we'll let you come here and begin your whole thing for citizenship, and you can do business here, and you can do a lot of business here, and blah, blah, blah. It gives you a chance to make a lot of money here is how he's pitching it. Now, I'm thinking this is going to be different for every single person, obviously, in their business. But he's saying that they should be able to sell millions of these. And someone was doing the math earlier, like, if they sold millions of these alone at $5 million a piece, they could knock out a huge chunk of the deficit. Like who's really going to buy this? Like, or are they just going to get rejected? Well, he's saying he thinks it's fairly cheap. Trump does. And for $5 million, you're basically getting a passport. Like, you got a green card, right? Well, this is the gold card. It would replace the legacy EB-5 program, is how he puts it. And it will be ready within weeks. millions of these cards could be sold. That's how he's looking at it. So, he's got all these little ideas and what some people call gimmicks and this and that that may work to a degree. Some of these things you just have to wait and see. It really could. It could do something, or people could just not buy it. Is how I would see it. Like, that would be the only failure of it, is if people just said, "Heck with that. Heck with them. Heck with all that," and it just flopped. That would be the downside. But something's got to be done here, legitimately, to get this country on the right track. I told you on the last show they put in this thing where they're trying to get him in there for an extra term, the third term, because they want him to complete everything on his agenda and all this other stuff. But they've been firing a lot of people. But this one here tonight, this group, you talk about people that were deservingly axed and getting their clearance pulled and all that. But if you missed it, there is talk about this sick chat group that was talking about all types of crazy sick things in it, and they've been busted. And they're getting fired and called out. And they said that no one's been held accountable in any of these departments for 20 years or more. And they've gone in and they found these guys, like people officially on payrolls, working within some pretty high posts within the government, or in these forums just discussing vile things. Horrific type of behavior. And because of it, 100 individuals are axed. And it's got to be an even number like that, 100 individuals. I don't know. 100 are getting taken out, and this is the excuse. I think there's actually a clip here. Let me.
Well, Jesse, what we're going to do has already been done. There are over 100 people from across the intelligence community that contributed to and participated in this, what is really just an egregious violation of trust. What to speak of basic rules and standards around professionalism. I put out a directive today that they all will be terminated and their security clearances will be revoked. But the thing here, Jesse, is we got to take a step back, because this is just barely scratching the surface. When you see what these people were saying, and thanks to Chris Rufo for putting it all out online, they were brazen in using an NSA platform intended for professional use to conduct this kind of really, really horrific behavior. And they were brazen in doing this because when was the last time anyone was really held accountable? Certainly not over the last 4 years, certainly not over the last 10, maybe 20 years. When we look at some of the biggest violations of the American people's trust in the intelligence community. So today's action in holding these individuals accountable is just the beginning of what we're seeing across the Trump administration, which is carrying out the mandate the American people gave him. Clean house, root out that rot and corruption and weaponization and politicization, so we can start to rebuild that trust in these institutions that are charged with an important mission of serving the American people, ensuring our safety, security, and freedom.
I don't trust her at all. Never have, never will. She's Mrs. World Economic Forum. I told you this in the beginning. There was a reason they rolled her out every single time in all white. I warned you every step of the way. Yeah, Mrs. World Economic Forum got busted. They tried to cover their tracks. They hated that so bad when we smoked them on that one. Because they have big plans for her, and you can see now, at the top, this top position, overseeing everything, where these people that fell in love with her will just take every single thing that she says. Thank you for the coffees there, Pittsburgh Pete. Much love. I appreciate the support to the fullest. I just don't trust Tulsi. She's a snake. I've caught her over the years, flip-flopping. The whole thing with Biden, toe the line, and she turned around and supported him and all this. I've seen it all with her, and I've warned you every step of the way. She's a snake in the grass. She's one of them, trained through and through. She's just well-spoken, though. And she was a likable character. This is why they took her off of the DNC side, and they brought her over to the Republican side. And they utilized the star power. And that's what they did with all these people. She was just another one of these people making the all-star team here. Just like RFK, all of them. They're all big names, well-known faces, likable faces that fooled a lot of people. And that's all that mattered. That's all that mattered. So what did they do with this? They caught 100 pervs in a chat, and they're all going to get fired and this and that. Okay, I get it, but it's like, there's probably like 100,000 of them in there, and you're gonna like throw us the bone on. I see further than this. It just seems like a story to say, hey, look, guys, we gave you what you want. It's more winning. No, like you just told us you fired a bunch of pervs, 100 pervs, when thousands more exist. And no one's going to jail again. No one ever goes to jail. There's no talk of it. All right, so what they're also slipping out there is that during Obama's tenure, they were targeting conservatives. This does not surprise me. This is an age-old tactic. It's a real tactic. And this is why you run into Republicans or people out there that say, yeah, I'm a registered Democrat. And they go there and they vote the other way. And they stay registered so the government don't mess with them. You see the tactic there? Because I guess they figured out a long time ago just this, that conservatives get targeted by the government. So they register as a Democrat and they go and they vote the other way on Election Day. So, anyhow, look, they leaked the taxpayer data. So, I mean, it's not only do you have your government to worry about, you got the Chinese government you got to worry about these days. They're everywhere. Christopher Wray said that they hacked into every sector of our country, which is very scary, before he left, and never said they did a thing about it. I got huge questions on this, I have, and they're going to remain, it seems. They have compromised organizations in 70 different nations, including our own FBI, CISA, and many more. They've targeted water, electric, all kinds of different government agencies through multiple different groups. But one of the main groups here is this group called Ghost, and it's a well-known Chinese group. Again, it all ties back to China. Remember, on the other stream, I told you that Maryland County in Maryland was hit hard, and this is where the NSA was and all this other stuff. And it was a multi-day event from an external threat, China, doing it again. So it's non-stop. China is attacking. This is the first I've heard of anything like this. And thank God this is happening. Arkansas is plotting a massive crackdown on Chinese-owned land as fears grow over China owning U.S. land. So it's growing more and more. And they're like wanting to put a stop to it. I could see several states making that move if they do this. And the point is that if you tried to go to China and tried to buy any land, it would never, ever happen. They would never allow you to do it. They would never allow an American to go there and buy anything. They're so strict on everything.
In my first year in office, I was proud to be the first governor in the country to kick China off of our farmland and out of our state. Unfortunately, the Chinese Communist Party isn't a threat that's going away anytime soon. President Trump was the first president in my lifetime to take a hard line against the CCP, and Arkansas needs to have his back. That's why today I'm announcing the Communist China Defense Legislative Package, a sweeping set of bills that will defend Arkansas from foreign bad actors. We previously banned companies linked to the CCP and other foreign adversaries from owning farmland. We'll ban those companies now from leasing property and owning property near our critical infrastructure. And we will shorten the amount of time a banned company has to divest from our state. We will also ban lobbying on behalf of Communist China, Russia, and other adversaries. Arkansas cities and towns won't be able to have a sister city in Communist China anymore. And we will withhold funding from colleges and universities that have a Confucius Institute or similar organization, which we know have been used as a front for spying in other states. And any state-sponsored entity, including colleges and universities and our state retirement systems, will have to divest from Communist China. We will also ban made-in-China promotional items from state government. These items should be made in America.
That is a huge step. Yeah, all these different lobbies should be banned. Yeah, Israel's, all of them. But the CCP has set up shop here more than anyone. They've got more troops here that have slipped across that border that are deemed a threat, in my book, more so than any other country. They have over 1 million men in here. They have over 1 million man army sitting in the shadows and are sitting right next to our military bases, our critical infrastructure. It's like, how did this ever happen? Well, it's good to see that Arkansas is serious about stopping this. They're one of the first. I mean, Huckabee here is one of the very first I've ever seen, even though there's so much of this is a show and it's puppets and all this, but it's huge to have your state step up. You have the feds to do one thing, you know, that's one thing, but the states have to stand on their own and make their own rules and stand on their own and not expect the federal government to control everything. This is supposed to be about the states, United States, us having the control, and the government just keeps us kind of glued together, a very minimal role, you know, but no, it's turned into this tyrannical monster the U.S. government has. And I don't know, with all this stuff happening with Doge and gutting all these places, man, China has just been on my mind heavy, like no one's talking about it. Homan has not talked about it one time. Strike teams are going in all these cities. They're going into jobs. They're going in all over. They're going into sanctuary cities. They're going all over. But not a mention of Chinese from him. So I'm glad that this has been brought up. Kyle Bass sounds the alarm over China's insane battlefield asymmetries in U.S. land ownership. So here's another one. I was surprised. He's the founder of Heyman Capital Management. He made these comments during a wide-ranging interview with Chris Powers on the Fort podcast. And he says it's alarming that we're sitting here witnessing this, that the Chinese have ownership of land all across the United States. And he goes on to point out that if we tried to go right now and buy anything in China, we would get shut down. We may not even be let in into certain areas. But they can come in here unabated and just buy whatever right next to critical infrastructure and bases. I'm glad he's talking about it because it needs to be talked about. Not just us here, you know, in this room. It needs to be reaching the ears of all kinds of people out there that they're here. And It's crazy the amount of land that they've got in the I just feel like it's loaded with troops. And if Hillman just stopped by there and took some teams, just, I don't know, paid them a visit, because it should be loaded with illegals, I guarantee you he'd find a ton. But they don't mention it. So Trump, he plays hardball, and you guys know this across the board. With all these countries, with everything he's doing. Well, he went to Venezuela and he threw a deal on the table. And he was trying to get Maduro to take some migrants back. And he wouldn't do it. And you're talking Venezuela's where Trinidad, Aragua, and all these other come from. So this is Venezuela's key here. Apparently they rejected it, and Trump said, okay, I'm going to drop the oil license. That's what he did. And thank you, Deanne, for that super chat, man. Much love. Respect right back. I appreciate it more than you know. All the support, appreciate it to the fullest. So yeah, no migrants going there. So what are they going to do with these Trinidad Araguas and all these people they're gathering up? What happens when the country that you're trying to send them back to doesn't want to cooperate? They don't want to deal with you at all. Like, what do you do? Like, we got other things going on here, I should point out. Let's jump to, I didn't get to get this in the title, but to Epstein. We got a whistleblower claiming that the FBI is currently, like right now, like deleting Epstein files. Even though Cash has been sworn in, somehow these guys are doing it Q style or something. They're deleting these files, and like we all know about it and are talking about it out here, but they don't seem to know about it. Like Cash don't, like get out of here. So this is the claim, that the whistleblower is saying that these agents were deleting the Epstein files last minute and that they're completely untraceable. Can't find them, all this other stuff. And it's like, okay, like, it doesn't matter. Like, they've got the list printed out. Remember, Pam Bondi just told all of us the other day that she's got the list on her desk. Right? Right? Well, Rep. Anna Paulina Luna calls out Bondi because Bondi is stonewalling, and she is. Mrs. Take the Guns, ask questions later. I don't like her one bit. Okay? She is stonewalling. She's got the list. She even told us, and she hasn't said a single word about it now. And she's getting called out, and she needs to be. And I'm glad that someone with the position out there is doing it. And also taking to social media and calling them out. There's a whole list here of, she even goes at Mike Flynn and all of them and checks them. Like, look, no. Like, you said you were going to do the JFK thing last time. And you didn't release them all. And like, you're saying it again. Like, you're saying the same thing about Epstein. You got the files on your desk. And now the whistleblower stuff's coming out saying that they're deleting them. She's like, enough with the games. Deliver. This is about transparency. You know, that's what you guys keep saying. Oh, we'll deliver these huge things. Do you think that Bill Clinton's name is going to be on this stuff? And if it is, do you think they're going to dare try to go after a former president still alive? Huh? When he wouldn't even arrest Hillary. Are you serious? He wouldn't even go after dude's wife. Like, are you serious? Wouldn't touch them. They're untouchable. They're establishment. Hierarchy. They're bloodline. They're untouchable as far as I see it. Who are they going to throw under the bus? Oh, they'll throw a P. Diddy or someone on that level under the bus for sure. Someone that's not of the bloodline. You could be in the club, but if you're, not in the bloodline, you're lower on the pecking order, you see. And this is what happens. Just like Epstein, he gets taken out. They'll kill their own. Just like P. Diddy was setting up all this stuff the same way as Epstein. Doing the exact same things. And again, they don't never want to talk about the murders and the rituals and the adrenochrome and all the really dark stuff. They're just going to keep it at the orgies. And even then, they won't tell you any of the clientele, which is garbage. And that's what is about to be served up. To some degree, names are about to be coughed up. Colin, thank you. Appreciate that. At least somebody's calling out bonding on this. We'll see how many days tick by. How many more streams go by before we hear anything else on that? I want to point out real quick in terms of defensive budgets. They may be cutting money here and there, but look, our defensive budget is like almost $1 trillion. It dwarfs everyone. China doesn't even come anywhere close with theirs. It's still a massive chunk, and then Russia, and then Germany, UK, India, Saudi Arabia, France. No one comes close to what we spend on defense alone. So when you got jets that can't fly right and are falling out of the sky, and not much else to show for, like, where's the money going? So let's dive into some of the global stuff here, because some of these war fronts do tie in biblically. They tie into everything happening with Trump, that's for sure, in Israel. And here's Syria, home of Damascus, which is biblical. Now, if it falls, it's going to fall, and it's not going to be on Assad's watch. It's going to be under a different set of circumstances. So how could Damascus get destroyed? Well, through war, of course, but between who? Well, the world is a stage. We knew when Jelani in this HTS swooped down into Syria and took control, and Assad fled and all this, we knew because Israel was making moves in coordination with it. They took over Mount Hermon and all these other locations. We knew that they were involved. Duh. Not to mention that, like, Jolani's like former like ISIS trained and all this other stuff, or Al Nusra, all this other stuff, like their baby. So it was obvious this was all part of their plan. Well, now they're saying that Jolani is demanding that Israel withdraw, and all of a sudden Israel is striking their positions, and all of a sudden war is breaking loose there. And it's like, are you serious? You think Israel was ever going to back down and give away anything? When they took over Mount Hermon, they took over Mount Hermon. And like, they're never giving it back. Just for defensive posture, they are never giving it back. I'm telling you that right now. They're not like any other kid. They're not giving a square inch up of what they seize. This whole thing is about a greater Israel. And that expands down to so many different countries, to the Sinai, to Jordan, and to Saudi Arabia, to all these places, Lebanon. So they're pounding this place out. Iraq puts out a warning and says that all of a sudden there's a resurgence of ISIS all over the Syrian desert. They're just popping up out of nowhere. Like, where you been all this time? They're just all popping up. Remember, they got armed up with $1 billion war chest that they swooped down and they took off the battlefields of Iraq. Remember that? Then they disappeared up into Syria and they formed the caliphate. Remember that? And then it just disappeared. It's all show. This is regurgitated dudes that they've trained down here, just going under a different name. That's what Jelani is to a T. He's Western trained. This whole thing's a front. It's all front. And a lot of Syrian people are going to die in the process. And it's going to be in this battle now where it escalates here that I feel Damascus is going to fall. And it has to. And they're going to do it by their design. They know it has to. They know it's biblical. And they know that that city has to be destroyed to match biblical times. And they will do it. They'll do it just for that fact alone. That's what you're dealing with. It's the type of people you're dealing with that are in control of all this. Now, let me tear into Trump Gaza. I think we've covered all the other major headlines. Let's tear into this one. And this one is just downright crazy. Now, Trump shared this. I don't know if he took the time to actually watch it, if his eyes stayed on it the whole time, or what. But it's shilling Gaza. Trump's Gaza. And again, it's AI created. It ends up showing him and BB lounging, drinking drinks in this Riviera. And it's basically talking about doing away with the tunnels and making it a beautiful place and all this stuff. Go in and clean it out, as he said. I'm going to play the clip, and then I'm going to take it back, and I'm going to show you some things that if Trump knew that they were in this, all right, here we go.
Tunnels coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one.
You see this? Trump Gaza, number one. As you play it, what do you got here? You've got him and BB lounging in chairs, Trump Gaza, drinking their drinks. This AI whipping all this up, And I'm going to tell you this. This right here, in this clip, we'll find it. There's two clips that I want to put. This one. Do it quick. That is not... If I can catch it here. Right there. It goes by so quick. That is not Melania. Okay? That is not Melania at all that Trump's touching on and touching the breast there and all that. It's not Melania. Okay? I don't know if he noticed that, if he paid any attention. Okay? But there's something else here that just, look at this. Like, futuristic city resort Riviera. This is what they want to make it. Gold all over the place, but look at this. That is Baphomet men with full-on set of tits and a beard. That they show for like a split second. Does Trump know that he just promoted a video clip that shows trannies or whatever out here on the beach? Does he even know this? Does he even know this? Did he even catch it? Because it happened so quick. Let me play this right here.
No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza
right there.
Is finally here. Trump Gaza
like literally a second.
Future, to see. No more tunnels, no more fear.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, you talk about subliminal programming and sliding it in there. There you go. Did he know? Did he know the bearded ones with boobs were the ones on the beach? Is this what they're going to have on their beach? Is this what him and Netanyahu are going to be lounging around to? I mean, this is what he shared. So say he got trolled. Like, yeah, I bet you, regardless, he's burned on this one. I mean, cats like us, we're going to catch things. Like, even if he didn't pay no attention, he missed it. Like, he's going to try to complain to somebody. Like, what the? If this causes an uproar. But then they're going to be like, yo, it was AI. Like, AI gotcha. AI trolled you. Gotcha. Mr. Trump Gaza. Gentile Messiah. Prince of Peace. Everything else they want to call him. Yeah. I'm just saying. Trump's out here pushing, promoting videos of this. Right there. Yeah. All right, and let's talk about the U.S. aid in Ukraine. They're admitting that it was a secret slush fund. All this is coming out. Investigators are talking about it. Well, like, who's going to jail again? These are huge admissions. Who's simply in charge of transferring and sending all this money? Huh? Zelensky making his way to the White House on Friday. He's set to sign this minerals deal with Trump. Trump's just trying to play him out, it seems here.
President Zelensky's coming on Friday to meet with you, and is the mineral deal sorted out?
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that he's coming on Friday. Certainly, it's okay with me if he'd like to, and he would like to sign it together with me, and I understand that's a big deal, very big deal. And I think the American people, even if you look at polling, they're very happy because, you know, Biden was throwing money around like it's cotton candy.
Yeah, and, I mean, Ukraine's lost this war. It's done. Like, Zelensky doesn't have any leverage. Everyone wants him out of there. If there was an election, he'd be gone, but he's stopping it from happening. Even though he just now finally kind of come to the conclusion he's got to go. He says he'll go if they give them NATO membership. Well, the EU doesn't seem to get that the Ukraine has lost the war. They keep wanting to try to, but like, it's done. And Trump says Ukraine can forget about NATO. Straight up. So if that's what he's trying to get.
Our equipment, that would have been over very quickly.
What concessions would you like to see? What concessions would you like to see?
Oh, I don't want to tell right now, but I can tell you that NATO you can forget about. I think that's probably the reason the whole thing started. And I think, JD, we can say that. Do you have a statement on that? You've been very much involved. I gave him the beauty.
Great. Maybe the hardest question, sir. I mean, look, as the president said, we're not going to do the negotiation in public with the American media. He's going to do it in private with the president of Russia, with the president of Ukraine, and with other leaders. And I think that's how this has to go. I think that.
Oops. Open that up, but yeah, no NATO. They're just basically about to make Zelensky sign some kind of deal where the payback is going to be rare earth minerals, and all of a sudden, there's all this positive talk of us and Russia partnering up. That's right. Putin has said it, and Trump has said it. They are both putting huge positive vibes out there that they are working on right now. Mineral deals, gas deals, all these things. Trump has said it multiple times that it's going to be huge. He's locking in this deal with Ukraine just to get payback. For the money that was spent there. But with Russia, he's locking in long-term, even Arctic stuff like natural gas and all this stuff. So this is huge. And they go on to state here that in the past that Russia dealt mostly with the EU, the United States kind of the same way, but now they're going to deal with each other directly. Like, they never really had the chance to do that. The Cold War kind of stopped and stifled all that. But if they can lock in these deals, it would change history. I mean, they lock these deals and you can kind of take it off the table that there's ever going to be any major war between Russia and the United States. There would be no need to be. It'd be far from it if they can go down this path. It raises the question about China, though. Like, are they going to get pissed off because of what's happening? We just sent our bombers out over in the region, and Iran is the last bad boogeyman out there in terms of the Middle East. So, getting in there and getting in friendly with Russia, it puts a wedge in everything there. It also, like, it breaks up bricks to a degree. The strength of it. It changes everything. If you can strike peace, something that no one would ever thought would have thought possible at this point. They didn't at the end of World War II, neither. No one thought that Russia and the United States would ever do what they did, but they did. They came together and they won the war. I've always said both countries are Christian nations, predominantly flying red, white, and blue. We cover a majority of the northern hemisphere on this planet all the way around. And we're a powerhouse together. You can't stop us. No one could. World War II, we won it. Went back to our corners to play out this whole war game where they could sell weapons and we could sell weapons, and that's worked up to this point. But now they're pushing their Gentile Messiah, their man of peace, and it's time for something different out here that they're trying. They're calling this the new detente, which refers to an ongoing effort between Russia and the U.S. to enter a new reapproachment to talk since the Cold War. And they even bring up China, and they're like, oh, is China going to get pissed? And they're like, well, no, this isn't to drive a wedge in between them, but ultimately it doesn't matter. I mean, any good relations between Russia and the United States, everyone else comes second after that. If they can lock that in, no one on the planet can mess with you. And it turns the tables kind of also on China with Russia, because Russia has had disputes with China over border areas in the past and over a few things. Pipeline issues, Belt and Road Initiative issues, just kind of butting heads with Russia's agendas and everything else. I don't know. This gives Russia more leverage now. Gives both of them more leverage with China. It puts China in a crunch spot, but China is the real boogeyman here because they're the ones that's got 1 million men in our country. They're not Russians. I'm not saying that there's not a couple, but there's not 1 million like there are Chinese, like we know, that have been caught day after day, month after month, sliding into this country. It's been the Chinese, not the Russians, that own land next to our bases all over the place. It's not. It's the Chinese, man. So there's a clear threat on the board when it comes to other countries in our country, and it is China. And China is in decline, if you don't know. They're not in the best shape, man. They are covering debts with non-cash items, and they're saying it's a very desperate move because they're not resorting to touching any of their gold, but any of their money, like, it's all drying up. And, like, for their debts, they're going to do things like this. They've got bills, and to pay those unfinished bills off, what they're doing is they're going to unfinished projects like these apartment buildings in this image, and they're going to the people that they owe the bills to, and they're like, here's these unfinished apartment buildings. This is your payment. I'm not sure. You have to send it to me, DN. So that is crazy. That it's like a barter type thing that the government is resorting to right now. Because like all of their money is being hoarded to gold and the gold being whisked away to somewhere. And if it's not going to be to back a currency, then what is it all for? Why are they all doing it? Could it be to give to the fallen ones? That's what the Anunnaki were doing. So the DOJ finds a migrant facility that is receiving $18 million a month. Empty. So is this, like, what? Where's the money going? Where's $18 million a month going? Dude, this is a high crime. Again, who's going to jail? This is like a repeat. It's black magic. Over and over again. All these things keep happening. Not a single person is mentioned to be going to jail. It's insane. It's insane. In the meantime, Trump has started an emergency war here in our country, which we were never really in before, but this whole thing is one big, huge script that they're playing out. They had to have Joe Biden come in to get all the illegals to flood in, just to even have the excuse to do what they're doing right now. But now the war is beginning. And this is crazy because, like, you can say it's begun. We have taken a casualty. A U.S. citizen has been killed by an IED coming from the cartels in a direct targeted attack to take an innocent person out or one of these farmers out. A farmer. Okay? And other people were injured. They're now warning that in southern Texas, you are not to be driving on any of the back roads, any of the dirt roads, anything like that here in America, because this is what you can come across. And definitely, if you're going on these farms that go across the border, like back and forth, like some of the land down there crosses the border, the farms and guys kind of go back and forth working, they're saying that cartels are just, they're killing people, kidnapping, all this other stuff. They need to get some high security down there then, some military, which is what they're saying they're going to do here. They're about to start strikes down here. Military strikes, and it's going to change the way that everything flows. They haven't done it yet, but as soon as they begin striking, it's going to be a game changer. And they're going to justify it by events like this. They're going to cite stories just like this, like our Americans already dying. This is a war. It's already begun. And it's begun. It's on. And you've got Mexico's president doing more to protect the cartels than even the Mexican people. She's even going as far as trying to amend the Constitution, like the 19th and the 40th articles, to where it's all protecting the cartels, giving her the power to keep them safe and really no mention or care about the Mexican people. It's because she's under threat from them as well. And it's just that simple. If she doesn't do something to try to politically protect them, they're going to come and spray her house up or kill her family or who knows what. That's the threat. And it's an open threat. And it's a real threat. But that's the power. That's how they have power. And that's what they do. It's going to get matched here with firepower. It's about to. And it's going to be a game changer. We're going to see more of these events, of these IEDs. It's going to spill over. There's no way that this happens and we don't see blowback. There's no way. So be ready. I've been telling you forever. Now, this one, tuberculosis outbreak, comes as illegals are coming through. Oh, so now they're calling this a biosecurity threat for the nation because these illegals coming in with disease, which that's all it's going to take. It doesn't take bat soup this time. They can just say an illegal came across the border with this disease and it's done spreading. This mutation, and it's begun. And the nightmare will begin. And as I told you before, all these strike teams and everything that's set up to go after these bad guys that they let in, it was all a front. They'll be going after anyone and everyone that does not take the jab. It's all set up for that. And here's a final one, a final note at 11:11. Much love, y'all. We have Eric Prince, former Blackwater CEO, multimillionaire, runs mercenary groups, throwing an offer out to Trump saying that he and his people can actually go and round up millions of these people and get them out of the country if Trump pays for it. And it would only cost like $25 billion. But by midterms 2026, he promises that they would have at least 12 million people rounded up. That would dwarf anything that would Homan and them are saying and predicting. But this is his specialty. And he's used to running mercenaries in other countries and murdering and assassinating all these other people. So you would end up seeing Blackwater strike teams unleashed in this country everywhere. It would be crazy. It would be everything that we ever warned of. And again, if one event popped off to lock things down, like a real pandemic, they would all be turned on us. This is the scariest thing about all of it. They sure would. These teams would all be used on us. I'm a realist, and I see it for what it is. And that brings me to the close of another stream. Jump over here to the chat and get some final thoughts. And yeah, man, interesting times. Did somebody say earlier something comes out tomorrow? What are they releasing tomorrow? What gets released tomorrow? Must have updated tonight and I missed that. I seen somebody said something's released tomorrow, so I'm just waiting to see what that was, and I'll say it. Like, what's getting released tomorrow? What's the word? Go over and check Twitter. Jesus is Lord. Yeshua, Most High. A file on something. Alina says, "I thank you." On what? Oh, the Epstein list. That's what you're saying? Tomorrow's all right. Epstein docs tomorrow. All right. Well, we'll see. I'll be dropping a video update if that's the case. Stay tuned right here on the channel. I'll be dropping a video tomorrow on that, on whatever we get out of it. Whatever names, whatever we can glean from it. And of course, I'll be updating it, tearing into it on the next stream. Look to be back here on Friday. And, yeah. Hopefully, we get some answers here in the coming days, but that's going to be one to discern. It's going to be an interesting list if they drop it, and they should. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. Make sure you're following me over on X as well for stuff that I'm dropping over there. And I appreciate everyone that shares the stream, everyone that joins us, everyone that supports the channel, anyone that hit the super chat, anyone that buys coffees, man, it's appreciated more than you guys know. Hits the PayPal link or the crypto links. Any of the support, all appreciated. And take us out of here on the music, as I always do. Much love and a God bless to all you guys. If the Lord doesn't return in the coming days, I'll see you here next time for some Underground World News Live. Much love. I see you, 313. Gary. MC Dirty. Great Ghost. Much love. And the legendary Eon checking in with the coffees, man. Man, much love, brother. Legendary.